Before the video starts, I just want to give an apology right now if I don't sound as enthusiastic as usual when I'm talking about episodes I like, because this video got claimed and blocked so many times, I re-edited it like a billion times, and it just ended up looking like complete shit. So I'm doing it from the ground up. Again. Third time's the fucking charm, boys. Third time's the fucking... Listen is one of the greatest episodes in Series 8, one of the best of Capaldi's eras, and probably one of the best of the whole show. This episode is brilliantly, geniusly written and crafted, beautifully directed, and truly is a masterpiece. While not my favourite episode of Series 8, it's easily a top 5 contender, and by most fans of Series 8, and even people who don't like Series 8, this is one of their favourite episodes, and that's very easy to understand why. So, let's take a look at Listen. This episode begins in one of my favourite ways Summer 12's episode starts, and that's having the Doctor give a monologue directly to the audience about something. Every time we get to see one of these, they are always brilliant and extremely unique. The only other Doctor I could imagine having anything like this would be Tennant because of his Blink speech, coincidentally written by the genius Stephen Moffat. However, I feel like this trait better suits Capaldi as we get some reflection about his thoughts and they are a good showcase / beginning into the episode. And this monologue is super interesting because all the things the Doctor says are completely logical. There's such things as perfect attack, perfect defense, but there's no such thing as perfect hiding. And as the monologue continues, this creepy music accentuates the atmosphere, and as the Doctor puts down the chalk to ask what would you do, he turns back and it's gone. This alone would have been a fantastic introduction to the episode, but it gets 10 times better when his question is fully answered. You would listen. And then the titles roll. Fucking phenomenal, and we're only 2 minutes in. After the beautiful titles roll, we get our fantastic showcase of Clara and Danny's first date, and I really like the way this scene is edited. It edits back and forth between Clara's regret after the date and the events during the day, and it sets us up for seeing how it's going to go wrong really well. Because it starts off so well, and seeing them get along was really nice to see. But seeing them just get the wrong end of the stick of what each other were trying to say was just sad to see. We saw this before and after scenario of editing in Danny's first appearance in the Dalek as well, but I think it works here a lot more effectively. Because had this all been edited at once, it would be a lot more boring and generic to watch, but knowing something rueful will happen makes it a lot more gripping to watch. Then the sadness is cut off by the comedic gold of Capaldi when he points out that Clara has 3 mirrors, and later makes a joke about her face being too wide. And once you realise this, you can never unsee it. Because I sure as shit couldn't. Every time I look at Jenna Coleman's pretty face, I can always just think now, oh yeah, face is quite wide. No wonder Clara's students couldn't concentrate. After that comedic gold, we get the scene which is the origin of the is for a lot meme, and the Doctor starts explaining the really interesting part of the story. The fact that everyone has the same nightmare about having a hand grab them from underneath the bed. Personally, when I was growing up, I had loads of boxes of toys and shit under my bed, so I never really had this nightmare, but I did imagine this scenario happening at some point. Now I just have another bed under my bed, so I'm not exactly gonna have this nightmare now, because the space between the beds is so small that if anyone could fit under there, I could easily slap them up. Anyway, we see the Doctor tell Clara to use the TARDIS telepathic interface so that they can try and find out why everyone has that dream. And I've got to say, this part of the design of the TARDIS is fantastic, and vastly superior to every other time we've seen this interface in the TARDIS. One nitpick I have with this scene, however, is that the Doctor fucking yeets Clara's phone over the edge of the TARDIS, and Clara doesn't even care, like, what? I know if someone fucking yeeted my phone anywhere, I'd be right after it. We all know what I'm thinking, because I know you're thinking it as well. But do I have to say anything? No. Also, you noticed it, I noticed it. What is that? What is... So it turns out we have arrived in the right time, but not the right place, and the creepy atmosphere in this scene is fantastic. The lighting works super effectively, and the thought of 2 people going through a children's home looking for the cause of nightmares is eerie as fuck. And, once again, as per usual, Murray delivers his usual gold in this scene. And we once again see this obsession with finding out what it is manifesting further as the Doctor leads Clara into a potentially catastrophic situation. This so far has been subtly shown to us throughout the episode so far, but this is the first scene where it's explicit that he's starting to lose it a bit. Because bringing someone to see their past self, that's time travel 101, and he's not even the one to realize the fuck up. Clara is. This obsession of the Doctor is shown brilliantly in this episode, and this is one of my favourite scenes showing it. After that, we see a little scene with young Danny and Clara, and before I talk about the fantastic scene with Capaldi, I must say I really wish they didn't put the flashes in when we see him at the window and when Clara flies the TARDIS, because it just sort of ruins the surprise of it being him. Because when the phone rang, it was already inherently obvious what this distraction would entail. While these little flashes seem a bit pandering to the audience, it's nowhere near as bad as it is today, where every single detail gets explained to us as if we don't have fucking eyes. After that nitpick, we get the most elaborate way to steal coffee I've seen in my entire life. This scene was already going great, seeing the Doctor test to see if this guy was having the same issues of things disappearing, harping back to the opening of the episode, and then having the Doctor disappear randomly was in fitting with the tone, and then having it revealed that he stole the coffee was a fantastic cap off to the scene. Then we get the most iconic scene in this episode, infamously terrifying as has been theorized about to this day, the creature underneath the blanket. It starts off extremely well, with Clara and Rupert under the bed. Don't worry, I will not give you context to why they are there. And then the bed goes down as if someone is on it, but we didn't hear anyone come in. The atmosphere that this creature gives off is really unlike anything else. It's really difficult to describe, but it just is really bone-chilling. And it just makes you feel uncomfortable. Because obviously the most logical thing to do would just be pull the fucking sheet off. But because of the awful vibes this creature gives off, none of the characters can bring themselves to do it. Not even the Doctor or Clara. We see some fantastic acting from Capaldi when he talks about all the benefits of fear and how it's like a superpower. It's such a fantastic scene that can shut down all the people who say having a harsh Doctor isn't a good idea. To all the people who said that, fuck you. Harsh Capaldi is the best Capaldi. And then, he makes them all turn their back to the creature, and the tension in this scene is fucking immense. It completely raises the hairs on the back of your neck. And the acting from all three of these actors really accentuates that. We see the Doctor slowly, more and more, lose control of the situation. And when he's as scared as Rupert is, he makes them all close their eyes because he doesn't know what else to do. And when we can slightly see an out of focus shot of this thing, we still don't know what it is. It could just be a child with a mask. It could be a creature from another world. We'll never know. And that's why it's so fucking fantastic. This episode plays on the basic human instincts and fear a lot like Midnight does, and it's fucking remarkable. I cannot fucking wait until I review Series 4. Like, it is gonna be fucking ages before it happens, but when it comes around, boy. Back to Listen, we see more of Clara showing herself to be good with kids as she puts the soldiers around Rupert's bed, and the quick bits of banter between Clara and 12 are very well done here. Speaking of well done, I feel like this kid saying that he would name the soldier Dan would be a much better reveal of him being Danny, instead of those flashes I was talking about earlier. Just to reiterate, this doesn't take away from the episode or anything, it's just a little annoyance that could have easily been fixed. When Clara goes back to her date with Danny, we get more cutesy dialogue before it inevitably fails again. I would retake that, but you have no idea how sick I am of reading this fucking script. However, this time I'm not sure I like it as much. Clara randomly saying Rupert Pink felt so forced, to be honest. Like, in the scene she says she likes to mouth off, so why wouldn't you try to be like more calm and collected this time? And I don't fully understand why Danny gets offended. However, that predictable scene is saved by the introduction of Awesome Pink. Yeah, I laughed too. The intense state of emotions Clara must be feeling right now must be all over the place, and Jenna Coleman performs this in a very entertaining way. And it turns out he was at the end of everything, the last planet in the universe with nothing left, and this scene's atmosphere is brilliant. It truly does feel desolate and hollow, and the sound design really sells the scene as we truly hear nothing outside of our character's footsteps.
All the clocks have stopped. This is the silence at the end of time.
Yes. The silence at the end of time.
A bit far.
A bit?
A big bit. Look at them now. Robinson Crusoe at the end of time itself.
He said the thing. I'll stop fanboying over the end of time now and tell you how much more interesting this episode gets when we see how desperate Orson is to get out of there. And that there actually is something left outside, already establishing more brilliant hair-raising tension. And then, just to raise more hairs, we see Orson showing Clara the soldier. The one that she gave to Danny when he was a child. And it lasted for generations through the family. Fucking brilliant. And I love how he just doesn't explicitly say, yeah, I know you're my grandparent, lol. Clara just says it's a family heirloom and he just says yes as he puts it into her hand. This dialogue is fucking extra on point this episode. And in this final scene at the end of time itself, we see the Doctor's obsession get the better of him as him and Clara are sat bored out of their mind waiting for something to happen. The monotony of this must be incredibly dull for the characters. And then we start hearing creaking noises and eventually a screech from the outside, which was fucking terrifying, and the tension starts skyrocketing here. The Doctor's obsession continues to worsen as we see him command Clara again into the TARDIS, and Capaldi's performance here is fucking top tier. And when the fucking door opens, oh my god, the atmosphere, the tension, the suspense, the creepiness, all building up throughout this episode are paid off. When, after all of that, we still don't see what's out there. This is brilliant because, as I said before, it plays on the fear of the unknown like Midnight does. But I think it might be done even better here. All we see are the reactions from Capaldi, and we don't know what it was. It could have been nothing, it could have been a creature. We'll never know because we never get to see. And that's what's so brilliant about the mystery of the unknown. It's one of the greatest things to toy with in fiction, and this episode and Midnight do it the best. And our final scenario of the TARDIS going places takes us to Gallifrey. While I have no idea how this works because it's meant to be lost, but also this is in the past, so maybe it could work. I don't fucking know. But this scene is fantastic. We get to see what initially started this irrational fear of the dark in the Doctor. Clara grabbing his foot from under the bed when he was little. He didn't just dream this nightmare scenario like everyone else did. It was a reality for him. What an absolutely brilliant subversion of the expectations this episode had set. And then we get the gorgeous scene where Clara mirrors the Doctor's speech about fear to Rupert back to the Doctor as a child. And it's just so beautiful. It caps off this episode so well. The callback to the War Doctor going to the barn was brilliant. The goodbye to Rupert was brilliant. The hug was so fucking wholesome and put a great big smile on my face. The kiss officially starting Clara and Danny's stupid mental relationship. Yes, I said mental, fuck off. And Clara, giving the Doctor the figure, was just so perfect. So, that was Listen, and on this rewatch and review of this beautiful episode, I might have to reevaluate my thoughts on Series 8 as a whole, because this is my new favourite episode of the series. Seriously, I've rewatched Flatline Orient and the finale, but they aren't as good as this one is anymore. And now the Series 8 ranking is pretty much outdated. For fuck's sake, when I'm filming this audio, the video's not even out. But this episode has blown me away completely. I remembered it being good, but holy shit, this is impressive. From the brilliant character work for Clara, Danny and the Doctor's slowly building obsession and Clara's slowly building relationship are both expertly shown here, the absolute god tier atmosphere and tension, and the music to the scenes is just gorgeous. Makes this easily one of the best episodes of the whole show. Or the revival. The way it plays on the fear of the unknown makes this the Midnight of the Moffat era, and that's nothing to cough at. An absolutely perfect episode, with very rare occasionally little nitpicky flaws, making this one of the best episodes in the show's entire history. Up next is... God damn it.